Imagine a world hidden just beneath the surface of our awareness, a place teeming with life and wonder that completely defies our understanding of science and history. What if I told you that such places don't just exist in forgotten legends or sci-fi novels, but rather have been glimpsed, recorded, and then meticulously erased from our collective memory? This isn't just about mythical cities. We're talking about entire ecosystems, perhaps even civilizations, that somehow vanished or were made to vanish, leaving behind only the faintest whispers. Why does nobody talk about these lost worlds? To unravel this profound silence, we first need to confront a concept that science largely dismisses, yet a persistent thread of human history and folklore embraces. The idea of a world within our world. Not just ancient ruins buried by time, but fully functional, perhaps even technologically advanced, societies or biomes existing out of sync with our perception. For centuries, across countless cultures, myths spoke of subterranean realms, Agartha, Shambhala, the Hollow Earth. These weren't just fanciful tales. They were often accounts passed down through generations, hinting at access points and encounters. These stories detail a realm of advanced beings or of primeval life forms existing in incredible environments, shielded from our surface world's chaos. But these are too often relegated to the realm of fantasy, conveniently categorized as fiction or primitive belief, effectively silencing deeper inquiry. What if the reason nobody talks about these lost worlds isn't because they're impossible, but because the truth behind them is simply too inconvenient, too unsettling, or too closely guarded? The foundations for these lost world theories are more robust than many realize, often drawing from ancient texts, esoteric traditions, and even alleged eyewitness accounts. Take, for instance, the so-called hollow Earth theory. While modern geology firmly states our planet has a solid core, the idea of an inner realm, sometimes accessible through polar openings, gained significant traction in the 17th and 18th centuries with thinkers like Edmund Halley. Later, novelists like Jules Verne captured the public imagination with Journey to the Center of the Earth. But these were often seen as fiction, yet the narratives persisted, fueled by more modern, unsettling accounts. One of the most peculiar examples is the Shaver mystery of the late 1940s. A writer named Richard Shaver claimed to have memories of an ancient civilization, the Titans, who inhabited vast subterranean cities. He described their advanced technology and their degenerate descendants, the Darrow, who caused mischief on the surface world using ray guns. Shaver's stories, published in Amazing Stories magazine, captivated millions, despite being presented as fiction by the editor. The sheer volume of reader mail, often claiming similar experiences or knowledge of these inner realms, was staggering. Were these mass delusions, or was Shaver articulating something that resonated deeply with a hidden truth? The official explanation, of course, was that Shaver was mentally unstable. But the intensity of the public reaction, the immediate labeling of such narratives as conspiracy or lunacy, serves as a pattern for how information regarding these lost worlds seems to be systematically suppressed. Even today, satellite imagery anomalies at the poles, strange seismic readings, and unexplained disappearances in remote, inaccessible areas continue to fuel the suspicion that there's more to our world than meets the eye, or than we're allowed to see. The consistent theme is a powerful force actively working to prevent these secrets from ever reaching mainstream understanding, maintaining a facade of a known and fully explored planet. This leads us to question just how much the information we're spoon-fed is curated and what truly lies beyond the curtain of accepted reality. But the narrative truly takes a darker, more concrete turn in the mid-20th century, specifically following World War II. This is where the notion of lost worlds intertwines chillingly with geopolitics and advanced unexplained phenomena. The most famous, or perhaps infamous, example is Operation High Jump, a highly publicized U.S. Navy expedition to Antarctica in late 1946 and early 1947, led by Admiral Richard E. Byrd. Ostensibly a scientific and mapping mission, its sheer scale, a task force of 13 ships, multiple aircraft carriers, and over 4,700 personnel, seemed massively disproportionate to its stated goals. Official reports detail scientific observations and geographic surveys. However, unofficial stories from crew members and later declassified documents, albeit heavily redacted ones, paint a vastly different, more terrifying picture. Rumors began to circulate almost immediately upon the task force's hasty return, cut short after only 8 weeks. Byrd himself gave cryptic interviews to the Chilean press, stating that it was imperative that the United States initiate defensive measures against enemy air attacks originating from the polar regions. He spoke of encountering objects that could fly from pole to pole with incredible velocity. These weren't casual remarks. They were pronouncements from one of the most respected explorers of his time, suggesting a grave, immediate threat. What kind of enemy or objects would provoke such a statement from a seasoned admiral, especially in the aftermath of a global war where the major powers had been definitively defeated? The only plausible, albeit terrifying answer that aligns with the Lost Worlds theory is that Operation High Jump encountered something already there. Something technological, something powerful, located deep within the unexplored, ice-covered continent. Perhaps an entrance to, or an outpost of, an anachronistic civilization existing beneath the ice. Think of the implications. An undiscovered, perhaps inimical entity or society capable of projecting force that threatened even the mightiest military of the era. This wasn't some fantasy. Byrd's words and the disproportionate military response point to a very real, very unsettling encounter. The immediate, swift, and highly effective suppression of any detailed accounts from high jump personnel, the convenient dismissal of Byrd's public comments as post-war paranoia, all fit the pattern of an information lockdown. Documents remain classified, key witnesses have been silenced or discredited, and any serious inquiry is quickly derided as fringe conspiracy. The fact that Byrd died only a decade later, with many of his private journals conveniently sealed or vanished, only adds fuel to the fire. It's as if the world was shown a glimpse of a hidden reality, and then the curtain was violently pulled back down, reinforced by layers of official denial and ridicule. To this day, the true nature of Operation High Jump and its implications for the existence of lost worlds remains buried beneath layers of secrecy and speculation. But the questions persist. Why are expeditions to certain remote regions, particularly the polar circles, still shrouded in such secrecy? Why do governments consistently downplay or outright deny any anomalous phenomena reported from these areas? If these lost worlds are merely fiction, why expend such immense resources and exert such control over narrative? The persistent whispers, the folklore, the inexplicable events. They all suggest that there's a magnificent, terrifying truth just beyond our reach, a truth kept from us. Perhaps the reason nobody talks about these lost worlds isn't because they don't exist, but because they do, and are guarded by powers far greater or far more secretive than we can currently comprehend. The silence isn't an absence of evidence, but potentially a deafening testament to the enormity of what remains hidden. And perhaps that is the most terrifying truth of all.